All right, Hare Krishna. So, yeah, we are connected on Facebook Live. Um, So, I have already shared the verse number. So, first canto, 16 chapter, first verse. Okay, let me share the screen. All right. So, reading from the first canto, chapter 16, first verse. श्रीसुत उवाच ततः परीक्षे द्विजवर्य शिक्षाय माहिं महाभागवता शशासः यथा हि सुत्याम् अभिजातको विदा समादिशान् विप्र महद्गुणस्तथा. Synonyms: Sutta Vacha, Sut Goswami said, Tata, thereafter Parikshit, Maharaj Parikshit, Vijayavarya, the great twice born Brahmanas, Sikshaya, by the instructions, Mahim, the earth, Maha, Bhagavata, the great devotee, Sashasha, ruled her in the past, Yatha, as they told it, he certainly, Sutyam, at the time of his birth, Abhijat Kovida, expert astrologers at the time of birth, Samadhishan, gave their opinions. Vipra, O Brahmanas, Mahadguna, great qualities, Tata, true to that. Translation: Sud Goswami said, O learned Brahmanas, Maharaj Parikshit then began to rule over the world as a great devotee of the Lord. Under the instructions of the best of the twice born Brahmanas, he ruled by those great qualities which were foretold by expert astrologers at the time of his birth. Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. At the time of Maharaj Parikshit's birth, the expert astrologer Brahmanas foretold some of his qualities. Maharaj Parikshit developed all those qualities, being a great devotee of the Lord. The real qualification is to become a devotee of the Lord, and gradually all the good qualities worthy of possession developed. Maharaj Parikshit was a Mahabhagavat or a first class devotee who was not only well versed in science of devotion but also able to convert others to become devotees by his transcendental instructions. Maharaj Parikshit was therefore a devotee of the first order, and thus he used to consult great sages and learned Brahmanas who could advise him by the Shastras how to execute the state administration. Such great kings were more responsible than modern elected executive heads because they obliged the great authorities by following their instructions left in Vedic literatures. There was no need for impractical fools to enact daily a new legislative bill and to conveniently alter it again and again to serve some purpose. The rules and regulations were already set forth by great sages like Manu, Yagnavalkya, Parasar, and other liberated sages, and the enactments were all suitable for all ages in all places. Therefore, the rules and regulations were standard and without flaw or defect. Kings like Maharaj Parikshit and their council of advisors and all the members of that council were either great sages or brahmanas of the first order. They did not accept any salary, nor had they any necessity for such salaries. The state would get the best advice without expenditure. They were themselves samadarshi, equal to everyone, both men and animal. They would not advise the king to give protection to men and instruct him to kill poor animals. Such council members were not fools or representatives to compose a fool's paradise. They were all self realized souls, and they knew perfectly well how all living beings in the state would be happy both in this life and the next life. They were not concerned with the hedonistic philosophy of eat, drink, be merry, and enjoy. They were philosophers in the real sense, and they knew well what is the mission of human life. Under all these obligations, the advisory council of the king would give correct directions, and the king or executive head being himself a qualified devotee of the Lord, would scrutinizingly follow them for the welfare of the state. The state in the days of Maharaj Parikshit, Maharaj Yudhishthir or Maharaj Parikshit was a welfare state in the real sense of the term because no one was unhappy in that state, be he man or animal. Maharaj Parikshit was an ideal king for a welfare state of the world. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। Okay, all right, Hare Krishna. So thank you all the devotees for joining and giving me opportunity to serve you all. So once again, there are some questions I think which are floating in the devotee community in regards to can we charge money for the limbs of bhakti? And I think especially for Kirtan, because we see there's a lot of trend for Kirtan Melas and Kirtan festivals, and we may be surprised to see that we have been charged for that. So, what is the truth in that? What is the reality? Should all these things be charged, or it should be given for free? So, I will start with quoting and sharing a lot of references from Srila Prabhupada's letters and his own statements, as well as a few statements from our previous acharyas. And you will also be noticing that they are all unison in terms of coming to a conclusion whether we should charge or not. And what is the purpose of charging? Even if we are charging, then what should be the purpose of charging? So let us go through all these. I will be sharing it on screen directly so devotees can directly view all these references. All right. So let us start. I hope you are able to see the references. Yeah. All right. So the first reference. So Prabhupada, so he's saying that so this Chanakya Pandit was a great politician and a Brahmana. And as Brahmana, he was vastly learned. He has got some moral instruction. They are very valuable, still going on. In India, school children are taught. So this Chanakya Pandit, although he was prime minister, he maintained his Brahmanical spirit. He was not accepting any salary. Yes, because for Brahmanas to accept salary, it is understood that he becomes a dog. That is stated in the Srimad Bhagavat. He can advise, but he cannot accept it. So he was living in a cottage, but he was prime minister. And similarly, we also just read Srila Prabhupada's purport in the Bhagavatam, and he's making the same point there. And that is also based on Srimad Bhagavatam's. Okay, so this is reference Vedave's conversation with Professor Kovatsky, 22nd of June, 1971, Moscow. Another reference, Srila Prabhupada is saying that no, they are not Brahmanas. Those who give education in exchange for money, they are not Brahmanas. For instance, we are lecturing, educating people. We don't say, give us a salary. We simply ask them, please come. That is why we are cooking food and holding so many free festivals. We'll give you food. We'll give you a comfortable seat. Please come and hear about self-realization and God consciousness. We are not asking money. First of all, pay the fee and then you can come and learn Bhagavad Gita. We never say that. But these so-called teachers who first of all bargain for a salary, what salary will you give me? That is a dog's concern. That is not a Brahmana's concern. A Brahmana will never ask about the salary. A Brahmana is eager to see that people are educated. Take free education and be educated, be a human being. This is a Brahmana's concern. You see, I came here not to ask for money, but to give instruction. This is how to undo it before it does us in. So this is, I think, maybe one of the books or article a devotee has written, but he's got the reference from Srila Prabhupada. I think it's probably a letter only or a conversation. All right, the third reference. So even Vyasdev, you have seen the picture of Vyasdev. He's writing he's writing books just near a cottage only, but he's writing. Nobody can create such literature. But he was leading very simple life in a cottage. Even say 2000 years ago or little more, there was Chanakya Pandit. Chanakya Pandit was a Brahmana but great politician. His politics are studied even now in MA class. And because he was a great politician, diplomat under his name in our India, in New Delhi, the capital, there is a neighborhood which is called Chanakya Puri. And all foreign embassies are there. Your American embassy is also there. So he was a great politician, but still he was living in a cottage. He was not accepting salary because he was a Brahmana. Brahmana cannot accept any salary, just like you accept me as your Acharya, but you do not pay me any salary. This is forbidden. The teacher will not accept salary. Then he comes down to the Sudra platform. The Sudra accepts salary. I serve you, you pay me. And the Brahmana will distribute knowledge freely, and the Kshatriya will give protection to the Brahmana. This is a system of Vedic system. So even in 50 years ago, education in India, there were no charges. A learned Brahmana will sit down in any corner of neighborhood and all the children will come there. They will learn primary education and the parents of the children will send. Somebody will send rice, somebody will send dal, just like we are maintaining by collecting. Not here, but in Bombay, our center is collecting. The whole system collecting and distributing. The whole system was that love exchange. I give you some service, you give me something out of your love. Dadati pratigrinati. Love means 6 symptoms. I give you something, you give me something. I give you something for eating, you also give me something for eating. Dadati pratigrinati bhukte bhojayate guhyam akhyati prichyati. Updeshamrit, fourth verse. And this is from Srimad Bhagavatam lecture, second and third chapter, fourth verse. 22nd of June 1972, Los Angeles. Another reference, the Christian missionaries who are coming from abroad to carry out religious preaching are paid a salary in exchange for their work. Thus, their activities are not selfless, and thereby no truly auspicious benefit is achieved for the world. But Sri Nityanand Prabhu's Namhat is not of that nature. Our preachers of the holy name carry the Lord's mood from village to village in a selfless, dedicated manner, preaching and fulfilling Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order. Purport. These statements are indeed amazing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that what Christian missionaries are doing is not auspicious. And what the Nam Hut preachers are doing is all auspicious. If a person is working at a job to maintain his family, yet can spare some time from his busy life to give the message of the holy name to others, then that is selfless and pure. Such persons are fulfilling Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order that everyone should preach. Once, when I was flying in India, I met a missionary and asked him what he was doing. He said that he was going to preach in Northeast India and was being paid a good salary. But would he have been what? But would he have been doing that if not getting such a salary? Some of our devotees may receive an allowance to cover basic expenses such as apartment rent or their children's school tuition. They may receive assistance for maintenance or to cover certain expenses. Srila Prabhupada recognized that some Grihastha devotees needed monetary compensation. Bhaktivinoda Thakur pointed out that if the main focus is the salary, that is not auspicious. While sometimes our Grihasthas are given a small allowance, generally the Nama devotees work selflessly. In the near future, this type of preaching about eternal religious principles will spread not only across the length and breadth of India but throughout the entire world. The holy sound of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Vidam will be heard, and everyone, whether Brahmana or Malecha, will attain pure devotion to the lotus feet of Sri Hari. So this is obeisances at the lotus feet of Sri Namhat employees. This is a work by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, and this is not by Srila Prabhupada. So this is the opinion of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur. And then another reference. So Srila Prabhupada continued his sharp critical interest in his movement. When he received a report that devotees working with the BBT in Los Angeles were receiving salaries, he became disturbed. He initiated his policy and asked his secretary to make it known. Krishna consciousness means Vairagya Vidya, renunciation and knowledge, he said. They are taking advantage of the temple facilities for their sense gratification. Do you understand? Prabhupada said that temple living was for brahmacharis and sannyasis. If a grihastha was rendering essential service, the temple could provide an apartment for him. But why salary? Asked Prabhupada. Where is the question of salary? Where is Vairagya renunciation? Salary project should be stopped. If they want salary, they can work outside. In the name of Vaishnava, he is drawing salary, living comfortably, having sense enjoyment. So all you, my officers, should think it over and do the needful. Srila Prabhupada, Lila Amrit, chant Hare Krishna and fight. Chapter, I think, 51. All right, so there is also reference from the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th canto, 11th chapter. And verse number 5 to 6. So we'll not go through the sloka synonyms. We'll just go directly to the translation. So this is from 9th and 11th chapter, 5th verse. So all the Brahmanas who were engaged in various activities of the sacrifice were very pleased with Lord Ramchandra, who was greatly affectionate and favorable to the Brahmanas. Thus, with melted hearts, they returned all the property received from him and spoke as follows. Okay, next verse. O Lord, you are the master of the entire universe. What have you not given to us? You have entered the core of our hearts and dissipated the darkness of our ignorance by your effulgence. This is the supreme gift. We do not need a material donation. So I have shared this reference in order to indicate that the Brahmanas, they are supposed to receive charity. I mean, even if someone gives donation to them, they accept it as the mercy of Lord. But here we see that first class Brahmanas, they don't even want that charity because they already know that the Lord has given them a lot of things. So they return everything back to the Lord. So these are the top class, first class Brahmanas. All right. Continuing with our reference. Again, sharing the screen. Okay. So next reference, this is a letter to Mukunda. We should not try to make a profit out of Hare Krishna mantra. Now, this is especially with regards to charging money for Kirtan. All the following references. Then our spiritual enlightenment will be hampered. Letter to Mukunda, 2nd of July 1969. One should not make a livelihood by forming a professional band to carry out congregational chanting. This is Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela Parpat 8.83. Srila Prabhupada sometimes suggested having Kirtan performances for which tickets would be sold. Letters with, and I will share that references, letters to Hamsadut dated 22nd January and 4th of February 1968. So from his earliest days in New York City, he was living on the Bowery. Before moving to 26 2nd Avenue, he would take up a collection at the end of his Kirtan and class. So Srila Prabhupada records this multiple times in his diary from those days. Now, obviously, in both of these cases, the income was meant for preaching and not for profit or family maintenance. Okay. So these are the letters that Prabhupada writes to his disciples, and with regards to charging for organizing a festival. I understand also there was a Kirtan performance given by Sri Purnadas, not this one, but I think the later ones. You have rightly remarked whether they are devotees. You are right. These people are professional singers. Krishna Kirtan is not for earning livelihood. Krishna Kirtan is not for making the public for
dynamic
service.
पूरे फॉर्म में दर्द हो रही है इस साइड भी एडी में भी इस साइड भी हर जगह दर्द होती है
We do not therefore mind so much about the artistic presentation of Kirtan, but we want to see how much a devotee is satisfying the supreme will. Letter to Jadurani, 12th of December 1967. In The Art of Spiritual Life, page 103 to 4, Jadurani recounts the circumstances that led to the letter. Satswarup Das Goswami also describes them along with his realizations about the letter in Prabhupada Leela, second chapter, December 1967. All right, now uh, what is uh, so Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives his opinion, and we'll also see what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur said that professional bhajan singers are chanting not Hare Krishna but Mani Mani. This is given in Srila Bhaktivikas Maharaj's book, or maybe Standard of Kirtan. Not exactly sure if this is taken from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Vani Vaibhav or from another book. But this is page number 29 about Kirtan. And generation earlier, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur wrote about making a living by doing Kirtan door to door. So there are so many ways to make a living. It is one's duty to engage in some activity to do that. If villagers voluntarily give some alms after hearing the name of Hari, it is not wrong to accept that. But it is very unjust and opposed to bhakti to collect money by selling Harinam, considering it to be a livelihood. By doing this, both the giver of the name and the listener will never have the possibility of attaining the result of prem, and only pap will be accumulated. Harinam cannot be bought with money. The only price is Shraddha. Thus, it is advised that everyone should hear and chant with Shraddha. This is also the reference given for it. Bhaktivinoda Thakur has provided us. This is called as Tahal Petrol, which is article published in the Sajjan Tosli, 1896. So, as Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, devotees may travel about and do kirtan, and when people want to give contribution charity, the kirtaniyas may accept it. In fact, householders should give charity, but one should not do kirtan to gain a profit or making a living. Kirtan should not be a business. So we see from the following two letters of Prabhupada, actually wanted us to get a location, sell tickets with formally organized Kirtan band, and collection from the tickets was supposed to cover the expenses for spreading Krishna consciousness. So these are the letters where Prabhupada sanctioned the charging of money, but that was for a different purpose. So letter to Hamsadut, Los Angeles, 22nd January 1968. Another proposal is that I want to form a Sankirtan party in which two members will play mridang, 8 will play cymbals, 2 will play on tampura, and 1 harmonium. Besides that, there will be the leader of the party. This party will be so trained, and exhibitions of our chanting and dancing along with distribution of prasadam will be performed on a stage, and for this performance we'll sell tickets to the public. It will be known as spiritual movement. Suppose if we begin it from New York and there is good response from the public, then our attempt will be successful prior to our traveling all over the world. We'll earn money by stage exhibitions and attract attention of the elite public and move from one station to another station. A shorter type of this exhibition was held during our television show, and the performance was very much appreciated. So I want to train such a party immediately. I do not know where such training will take place, but I want to do it immediately in my presence. So consult with Brahmananda and others about this proposal. Give me your written suggestions about this proposal. Next letter, again to Hamsaduta, Los Angeles, 4th of February 1968. Regarding Kirtan party, my idea is that at least 1 dozen person should form a Kirtan party. 2 person play mridang, 8 persons play kartals, one person playing tambura, and 1 person playing melodious harmonium. The person who will play on tambura will be leader singer. You have just calculated what I want when you suggest that the leader should sing as I do, and the others will respond. That will be very nice. But all the members of the party will be pure devotees. None of them should be outsiders. We do not want any outsiders as far as possible. Mridang playing as you are doing at present will make you more and more expert as you go on playing. Here also I see Gaur Sundar simply by playing is improving. If all members keep their faith in Krishna and tries to please him, certainly everyone will be pleased by hearing our kirtan. It is sure and certain. When such kirtan will be demonstrated, only the harmonium player may sit and all others may stand up and join the kirtan and dance properly dressed. This is actually idea, and I hope if such kirtans are performed, even on public stage, we can sell tickets. That will be a source of earning to maintain our activities. All right, so these are the references that Srila Prabhupada and our acharyas they have shared, and so I will just share my thoughts about it. So first and foremost, it is very clear that whether it is kirtan or any limb of bhakti or any sort of education, spiritual education, it should not be charged for one's personal maintenance or family maintenance uh, as a personal income, right? So that is very clear from this. We cannot make money, we cannot do business with the limbs of bhakti. If you do it, then as Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions in Sajjan Toshri, that we are actually incurring sin in one sense. So the concept or the idea that we are trying to expand to people and to help others share Krishna consciousness, but in return, what are we going to get? We are probably incurring some kind of karma also by doing this. So definitely one should not do it as a livelihood. That should not be the motive. This is the essence of what we can understand from the teachings of our acharyas. The motive has to be when you want to share knowledge of Krishna consciousness, when you want to do kirtan, the only whole and sole purpose of sharing it with others should be uh, to benefit them through the process of bhakti. That's the only intention we should have. Whether we are getting income or not, whether we are I mean not income, sorry, whether we are getting some donation or not, that shouldn't be a secondary thought also. I mean, we should not even think about it. So this is very important. And generally, whenever we are distributing knowledge, we also see the idea is that as it is also mentioned in our references we just went through, that the idea is that the householders are supposed to give charity. That is their dharma, that is their duty, that is their service, it's their responsibility. So they should give charity, but the devotees should not demand money. And if they give donation, if they are taking donation, it should be accepted um, as the mercy of the Lord. So basically the devotees, they are supposed to be dependent on the Lord. Even if you are providing spiritual education, knowledge, and for on a massive scale also we are doing it, I think we should not charge a straightforward a direct money for that, because what happens is people get this misunderstanding that we are basically earning from that. So that should be avoided. In fact, we should show people that we are dependent on Krishna. He is going to maintain us, not money. So whether you are a big motivational speaker or a big kirtaniya, whoever you are, if you are trying to share Krishna consciousness, I think it is our responsibility to show that we are dependent more on Krishna. We are basically dependent on Krishna. We are not dependent on anything else. So people should donate. I mean, they should get an impression that we are voluntarily and happily donating some money. And that amount can be anything. It should not be fixed. If you are fixing something, then basically what we are doing is we are trading. That okay, I am selling you this, you give me this much. So that gives a very wrong impression. That should be avoided completely. And yeah, if devotees they have been invited for a Sankirtan program to do Sankirtan or to give a class or like for example some motivational speakers also, because devotees are also motivational speakers. They motivate, they add value to people's life. So that sense they are kind of most of the devotees who are preaching, they are motivational speakers. So if they are invited, uh, definitely their traveling expenses should be taken care of, because if they constantly travel to different places and if they do not have their own personal source of income, then yeah, that has to be provided to them. But they are not supposed to demand money, they are not supposed to charge money for their classes programs, and the householders, they are supposed to donate to them. So as Prabhupada was also explaining that in earlier days, so people used to have a barter system where you provide spiritual knowledge, and they will give you grains, or they will give some food in return. So that way, like, you also acknowledge and respect that you understand that what I'm receiving is worthy enough. Because spiritual education is very worthy. It is highly valuable. So that value has to be respected, and for that we all have to donate something, right? It's not that you take everything for free. Nothing in the world is coming for free. Even the air that we are breathing in, it has to be expelled out. Okay, you cannot take things for free. Everything has a price to pay for. And Prabhupada even said that if you don't pay for, like, for example, even if there is a single penny that you are supposed to pay, if you don't pay for it, you escape from that, then karma will make sure that in the future you will have to pay very heavily for even a small penny that you were trying to avoid to pay, trying to be miser or greedy. Okay, so when we are supposed to pay for something, then we have to pay for it. That's the law of karma. We cannot avoid it unless and until, like, we are completely dedicating our lives to spread Krishna consciousness. So there may be certain times we may commit some mistakes, or we may overlook certain things, and then Krishna can overlook that also. But in general, it's a principle that we have to pay for everything that we are taking. Okay, so so it should not become a business. See, the intention has to be very clear. There are, I know for sure, and I think devotees are also aware that there are performances of devotees, especially in terms of kirtans, and maybe they are charging money for that. So I think it is our duty where we have to know where that money is going, whether it is going to their pockets or whether it is going for a noble cause to spread Krishna consciousness. So if that is the case, then yes, definitely we can appreciate the and Prabhupada always maintain the standard that whenever devotees are doing kirtan, they should be pure devotees. Pure devotee in the sense that he is not expecting that devotees should be in the state of bhava and prema. But pure means the intention should be pure, which means that their only intention is to make others take the benefit of kirtan. Okay, so we should hear from only these kind of devotees, because for our own Krishna consciousness, for our own purification and advancement. And I think the last couple of sessions we had, uh, the only purpose is to basically understand who are advanced Vaishnavas, that we are supposed to hear from advanced Vaishnavas. We are not supposed to hear from popular figures or popular devotees. Okay, that conception is already we have cleared misconception in the last two sessions we had. So we have to make sure, as being receptive to the process of Krishna consciousness, we have to be thorough that we know that from whom we are hearing. The purity has to be there. Then only it can affect our Krishna consciousness. We can transform ourselves. So we have to make sure. Um, so you have to be sure that where that money is going. Okay. And another thing is that, see, in this particular day and age, in Kali Yuga, definitely things have deteriorated, degraded also. And we can understand that things are not going to be uh, exactly as per scriptures. There will be some degree of variation also, even in terms of spiritual uh, bhakti related things. But still, that's why we take help of Guru Sadhu Shastra, so that we can clearly understand what should be done, what should not be done, what should be avoided, and what we can do. So it is another. See, one thing is very clear: devotees who think that they can earn money through the limbs of bhakti, and they will earn simply, they will have a simple lifestyle, and Prabhupada used to say that simple living and high thinking. But I think it is very doubtful in Kali Yuga to stay very simply, because what is your simplicity? What is the definition of simplicity? Every devotee, Grihastha devotee's requirement is different, and the cost of maintaining a child, one child in Kali Yuga, it is quite high. It is not so easy, because if you want to educate your children, you see what is the fee in current time. It's quite high. So not just fee, but medically also you have to take care of them, not just your children but yourself also. So there is, I think, a lot of money which is required these days. It's not so easy to maintain a simple lifestyle. So just in the name of being simply living and high thinking, you cannot mix up bhakti and business. Okay. And that's why it is always preferred to have a separate source of income. It's best to have a job or to have a separate business. We should not mix limbs of bhakti with business. We should not try to earn money with the limbs of bhakti. Um, and by that, doing that, I think, see, it's also the responsibility of householders to donate money. What about that? I mean, if you are living simply, if householders are living simply, and if they are not able to, uh, uh, donate, because Grihastha ashram is the only ashram which is supporting the other ashrams. So actually, in fact, if devotees they are earning a lot of money, it is very nice because they can use a lot of their sources and income for spreading Krishna consciousness. Anyways, the other ashrams they are doing that. Brahmacharis and sannyasis, vanaprasthas, they are spreading Krishna consciousness. Then how are they getting the income? Where are they getting the money from? So that money is coming from grihasthas. So if grihasthas, if they are able to earn money, a lot of money, it's very good actually for the grihasthas. It's the best occupation for them, best service for them. But if grihasthas they have preaching inclination, and if they are completely into it, they are serving full time. They may stay in their house, but they, kind of vanaprasthas they have become or they have retired. That is also very good service. But one thing is that we have to acknowledge the fact that if grihasthas are earning money, that is very good. They can support the movement very nicely. And they can also take care of their children very nicely. See, in future, we may think that we are trying to live simply by earning a small amount of money every month. But actually, we can get overwhelmed with so many expenses later on because we'll experience in the future. So then we'll regret, we'll repent about it that, okay, why did not I earn actually from outside? Because I thought I can simply live and maintain my children. But later on, you will understand that so many problem issues, so many diseases are there, medical treatments has to be done. So many problems come. So then you realize that, okay, it's better to earn from outside. So that way it is this conception of simple living and living like maintaining the livelihood by the means of the limbs of bhakti. It's not at all recommended actually. It should not happen. I mean, if you want to live simply, there are other ways to live simply also. You can have other sources also to live simply. Okay. Otherwise, there will be problems in the future. And see, the main issue is that in Kali Yuga, the mind is very corrupt, and Lakshmi also plays a very important role in our life. And it is through Lakshmi that Maya can enter very easily. So, if our intention is that, okay, I will do Kirtan, I will do this preaching. If I get some donation, I get some Lakshmi out of it. Then our gradually our mind, our intentions will become corrupt, and then we'll only focus where we'll get a lot of money. But is this the system which is approved by the acharyas and the shastras? No, not at all. What are the shastras and acharyas saying? They're saying that, well, the question is that you'll not do kirtan, you'll not do prachar where there is no money. Then basically what you're doing is you're doing business, you're selling the limbs of bhakti. So where is the effect? There is no purity because there is no purity in intention. So that's why it is not at all encouraged to mix business and the limbs of bhakti. There is a high tendency to get corrupted because in Kali Yuga it is very easy to get distracted, and especially through money. So in the name of using it for Krishna service, we will start using it for own sense gratification. So the entire purpose is not to use that donation. And even if you are getting donation, by the way, even if you get donation from people, um, that donation also has to be used for Krishna service. It cannot be used for sense gratification. So in the name of spiritual life, if you want to gratify your senses, better you take you earn by some other source, but don't earn from the source of the limbs of bhakti. Okay, uh, if you are getting donation from performing the limbs of bhakti, then that donation has to be used for Krishna service. You cannot use that for sense education. See, that's why I also shared the Bhagavatam 9th canto, 11th chapter, verse 5 to 6, where the Brahmanas, they return everything to the Lord. They want to return. They don't want to keep anything for themselves. So, no monetary gains, right? So this is actually the highest standard of Vaishnavism. And you may also hear there is one short lecture by Indra Prabhu regarding should we charge money for Kirtan, especially for the Grihastha's livelihood, whether we should charge money or not. So there is a lecture in YouTube. You can hear the first part of that. And Indra Prabhu quotes from, he says that in the Hari Bhakti Vilasa it is mentioned that we accrue sin by doing this. And so the same thing has been also mentioned by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Sajjan Koshan, which I have shared with you. So Indra Prabhu was very strongly against it. And I will also like to read. So I also took opinion of some senior Vaishnavas like His Holiness Giriraj Swami Maharaj and His Holiness Bhanu Swami Maharaj, and they both replied the same thing, that whenever devotees they are sharing knowledge, the intention has to the intention should be to share knowledge of Krishna consciousness to others so that they can benefit, they can become devotees. And if they receive money, if they receive some donation, that has to be channelized for Krishna consciousness, and they should not fix any money for that. It should be received in the form of donation, right? And if it is donation which is related to spiritual education or the limbs of bhakti, it has to be utilized for the service of the Lord. You cannot use it for sense, some percentage for sense education, some percentage for your Krishna conscious services. No, not like that, right? So if you want to, if you have some desires, you want to fulfill some material desires, then you work outside on money and you can do that. But money which is received through the limbs of bhakti cannot be used for sense education. So, so this is about Kirtan and spiritual education. Also, would like to share something from the Mayapur Institute of Higher Education, what they have mentioned about this. So, see what they have already put up a kind of a disclaimer, because devotees may think that why they are charging money. So, what they have mentioned in their website is that the service charges we receive merely cover our administrative or non-human infrastructure expenses. Our teachers and administrative staff receive basic necessities from funds derived from non-designated donations that our supporters regularly give. The main principle that Srila Prabhupada emphasized, that teachers not get salaries or charge for transferring transcendental knowledge, has always been and remains a cornerstone of our ethos. Please note that our service charges do not include giving any dakshina to the teachers. The Vedic system is for students to offer dakshina in order to gain the most from learning. Teachers do not charge and students freely give. So we strongly encourage our students to offer their teachers some donation, whether money or gifts or service, remembering that most of our teachers are renunciates with no means of support other than charity. And they quote from the Bhagavad Gita. So any sacrifice performed without regard for the directions of scripture, without distribution of prasadam, without chanting of Vedic hymns, and remuneration to the priest, and without faith, is considered to be in the mode of ignorance. This is Bhagavad Gita 17th chapter 13th verse. And then Prabhupada from Srila Prabhupada in the Bhagavad Gita 11th chapter 54th verse. Charity should be given to the devotees of Krishna who are engaged in his devotional service to spread the Krishna philosophy or Krishna consciousness throughout the world. If one gives some amount of his money to a person involved in distributing Krishna consciousness, that charity given to spread Krishna consciousness is the greatest charity in the world. Please note that contributions cover the study materials and administrative expenses connected with conducting the courses. BBT published books used in the course, accommodation, prasadam, and travels are not included. Now, there was also one question asked to His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So is it appropriate for ISKCON devotees to charge money from audience? The same thing that we are discussing, by teaching Krishna conscious philosophy and Kirtan and maintain their household life from that income. I'm asking this because usually we do everything free in the temple, but when some new people meet devotees who charge money for teaching Krishna consciousness philosophy and Kirtan, the new people get confused, thinking that they may be doing for, they maybe they are going after money. So generally, it gives an impression that, especially outsiders, it gives impression to them that we are after money rather than depending on Krishna. And the answer by Jayapataka Swami Maharaj. So he says generally we give classes in the temple free of charge, and he's saying that I'm trying to think. Sometimes, like for instance, in Vrindavan or Mayapur, they teach Bhakti Shastri or Bhakti Vaibhav, so they charge something. But you take the course, and it is understood that they are charging something. There is a teacher for 3 months; he has dedicated himself to teach you. So if there is a particular special course, they are offering a certain degree or diploma or something, then they may charge it. But then people know that this course is long. I have to pay this much and I will get this degree. Unless some people think that this degree should be given for free, then someone should finance the teachers. Normally, if you are giving class or something, we don't charge unless there is some program to get some degree. So this is, I think, in a lecture 28th of June 2022, Sridham Mayapur, Maharaj gave. So, all right, I hope devotees got the essence of what we are discussing here. We can stop for now and then we can take up some questions and comments. Thank you so much, all the devotees. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Madhava Pranam to you, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. Thank you so much for the wonderful class and all the quotations and everything you read, and made it very clear that this, ISKCON movement is very pure and selflessly they want to, give Krishna, share Krishna through books and other ways. And, it was reminding me of one point that, sometimes when we go to some astrologer or someone, right? And, they take money and they'll say this upay, that upay. But there are some people, who will just, they have the knowledge, they will discuss with you. And if you want to give donation, there might be a small donation box you can give, but there's no fixed amount that, that astrologer or that Janam-patri reader person is, then generally you get attracted to a person like that rather than, a person who's charging, because, he's made a business, like you said so many times. So that's not good, right? So one question is there, Prabhuji, sometimes, in our temple, we get extra, what do I say, like extra bhoga coming in, and, like the people who are in charge, the management and all, they think that, they like in the sense that, suppose, the temple is cooking like khichdi or what like that, and suppose there is a lot of chana dal came, right? About 10-15 packets. So is that okay that, that dal is distributed among the devotees and the devotees can buy the dal? Because ultimately somebody is given the donation, and you mentioned in the class that the donation has to be used in the service of Krishna, right? But suppose there is one donation a lot and the other donation is very less. Say they're using moong dal a lot because it's generally, easy to make khichdi, but then maybe chana dal or rajma and other things which need soaking and more time to cook, they're not able to cook that much, and they don't, temple generally, wants to cook simple. And then somebody gives a bulk of, other things. So is that okay for the grahastha to give Lakshmi and take the, bhoga from the temple?
Actually, I have not understood clearly. What exactly are you trying to convey? First of all,
What I'm saying,
astrology point. So I think, see, astrologers basically they are dealing with our karma because they guide us depending on our karma from previous lives, or they give some predictions. So it is not exactly spiritual education. They're not talking about how to escape from birth, death, or disease. So this education, which is spiritual, basically means that it is from the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, involving the purpose of life and what is the goal of life. So that has to be free. But astrology as such, basically it's kind of a profession also. And in any case, one has to give some dakshina because you cannot take things for free. Um, so yeah, I mean, it's like, for example, material knowledge, like you impart material knowledge to someone and they are getting money for it. Even like, for example, if you are guiding someone for an MBA program or master's program, like there are so many coaching classes. And so see, this is what Prabhupada actually was mentioning in the references that we went through. Earlier, this system was not like that. Because first of all, there was no technology as such. In the earlier days or yugas, there was no, so the entire goal was to cultivate spiritual consciousness. Like the Brahmanas, they are there, they are imparting knowledge. And that knowledge is not just limited to spiritual knowledge, it can be material knowledge also. Earlier it was like that. And for that also they were not charging anything. But here, but then there was a system of Guru Dakshina was there. Okay. So, but then because of Kali Yuga, then we have this technology advancement and all. And that's why people they want to earn money. Earlier, we had some farms, we were satisfied with cows, and we used to grow grains and vegetables and fruits and all, and we were satisfied. And the entire time was spent discussing about spiritual topics because there was no television, there was no laptop, there were no computers, there were no mobiles. So what people used to do? So for them, social gathering was basically about to discuss stories from the scriptures, from the Mahabharata, Puranas, and all. But now, because this entire system of technology has come up, industry civilization has come, industrial civilization, everything. So it has spoiled everything in Kali Yuga, and people are basically running after money. So they have to take some, according to the inclination, they will definitely work somewhere, and they will earn money. And that money will be used in different things. There will be, because there's no satisfaction, there's lust, envy, greed. All these qualities are also there in Kali Yuga. So that's why, in one sense, yeah, it is like astrology has also become a profession. In the earlier days, maybe they were not charging, but now they are charging because it is connected to karma. But this is different from what we are providing, which is to get free from the cycle of birth and old disease. So that is spiritual education. You can say astrology is also kind of material. So, and there may be some good, nice astrologers also who think that they are doing it as a service, as a seva. And also, if they are doing it for devotees as a service, that is the best thing. Otherwise, doing it for karmis, it does not make any sense. They may do it as a service, but ultimately the karmis, they will misuse the money. So it does not make so much sense. But if they are doing it for devotees, they are doing it for organizations like ISKCON, then it makes sense. And second question, I was not able to, like, maybe I was not attentive. Uh, you can just clarify.
I wanted to mention, like, there was why the astrology thing came to my mind is, and it was in connection to like an analogy, like, my father, he passed away like in 1993. So we had, generally we showed his Janampatri to two people. One of the astrologers would just not take money, and he predicted that, your father will not live for very long. But then another one was taking money, but he said, no, inka to lamba life hoga. So, then later on we realized that person was there. We met the astrologer who didn't charge nothing. And he saw and he gave us like an indication to the family, So I was trying to refer to in such a way that that astrologer who was not taking money was selflessly giving the true knowledge from his, but the other one is like, he says, lamba life hoega and all, like, and then it came out to be that, of course, everything is in Krishna's hand, but so that's why that example came to me. But yeah, in reference to this, what I'm saying is like, if, Prabhuji, like if in a temple, there's a lot of, say bhoga coming, people are getting, a lot of donation is coming, but the temple is not able to use so much, in summertime, there could be bugs in the donation and things like that. So if, the the few Grahastha families are told by the management that, you can take some, whatever donation you can give, you can take some because there's so much here, we're not cooking. So is that justified? Is it okay to do that? Because at one point with the Grahasthas who are going to buy the donation, they'll give money, they're thinking, after all, it is a donation. However much like mountain of donation comes, it should be used for the service of Krishna. But then sometimes the situation is such that it's not being able to use. Bugs are coming, all these things are happening, because you have to maintain the kitchen and everything. So is that okay to buy donation? Obviously, we're paying money, whatever the market rate is, of the dals and stuff like that. Is it okay?
Yeah, so I think based on the experience, you can distribute it for a couple of times. But then if you are already experiencing it for like frequently, then why to collect so much? I mean, I think all the temple devotees in the management, I don't think they'll be doing it frequently because they have already got experience a couple of times. So they will use that donation for something else instead of using it for food items. And yeah, I mean, if there's some surplus food remaining, anyways, the purpose of food is to distribute ultimately to the general public by offering to Krishna and then making prasadam. We can distribute to public, so it can be distributed to devotees if there is surplus remaining. But why to repeat this mistake again and again? That is also
Yeah, but Prabhuji, one point I want to tell: the donation that is coming in bulk is coming because somebody is donating. They are not donating as per what the temple needs. So that bulk item, if it's donated in the among the Grahastha devotee community, and the devotee community pays Lakshmi of that extra donation, so that way like I give an example of some dals are needed, some are not really needed. So if something bulk comes, the temple is not buying. Temple in fact is telling that okay, we're using this, but some people out of their own they will just like instead of giving maybe rice or wheat, they will give like so much of maida flour, the white flour. Now it's lying there, and bugs are coming, some has to be thrown. Then the temple tells them that you can just if anybody wants to take, they can take and put Lakshmi for it, because after all somebody's donated. So that way, I mean, temple is not at fault anyway, but I mean to say, like, is it okay to take somebody else's donation by paying money, the extra donation which temple is not using?
okay. So
That's exactly
what I understand is that someone is giving you donation. Maybe they are giving you some food item. Like for example, you spoke about wheat or like wheat flour or something like that, and you are not able. The temple is not able to utilize that, but instead it is distributing it to the congregation devotees because for a price, right? And the temple is
yes.
again getting donation from that.
Mhm.
Correct, right?
Yes.
Okay. So basically, they are that way they are collecting extra donation, right?
Yes, but one thing is there, okay, one aspect comes to this because it's connected to the topic you discussed today. Say somebody is giving donation, right? They have given with the thought that, okay, I'm giving 10 bags of Rajma, to be cooked in the future for the temple and for the pleasure of the lordships and everything like that, right? So the donation has come from that particular person with the thought that Rajma will be cooked. Now the temple is not able to handle it. So when a person is buying from the temple, is there any kind of a negative karma? That's exactly what my question is. Because somebody else has bought through the temple, the person is not taking free. He's paying the temple. And rightly you said the temple gets extra donation, and which is good because we always need extra money. And especially when the temple is older, you need to invest in the building and so many other things. If it's a new temple, and it's, you don't have to worry about for the next 20 years, Yeah. So just some thoughts on that. Otherwise, Prabhuji, others can ask question. I just wanted to know, like, is there any karma involved here when grastas buy? That's my thing.
No. Why? See, when you buy something, why there will be karma? You are giving money for what you are taking. So why there will be karma for Grihastha devotees? In fact, maybe the question should be, will there be karma for the temple management devotees who are selling it because they have got it in donation. They have got it for free from someone who has donated it, and then they are selling it.
Yes.
Selling the free item, right? So see, um, what I understand is that the temple is supposed to distribute it uh, to the general public or to the devotees if they have received it as donation. And I don't think there is anything wrong in reselling, like kind of selling it basically, because ultimately, see, the intention and the purpose has to be very clear. If they are selling it, what they have got for free, and devotees are buying it by giving a donation, that donation has to go to for the service of the Lord. If it is not going for the service of Lord, then definitely there is karma incurred, sin incurred. That will the temple management devotees, if they are not pure enough, and if they are using it for personal thing, then they will definitely have to incur some karma.
So Prabhuji, one more question related to this. Like if you said basically temple is for the sannyasis and for the brahmacharis mostly, and the grahasthas should donate and from the income, and preferably earn outside, so that way the income is coming from outside, and then they can give to the temple whatever they want to give, like that. So now suppose the temple is run by the
general
grahastha.
principle is that for householders, they are not supposed to take from the temple. They are supposed to give to the temple. This is actually the general principle. But then exceptional cases that if a grihastha devotee, if they would like to serve the temple full time, and if they are rendering some essential service, then an exception can be made for them, and they can be given some facility also, which they should not deny. The temple can give on their own. But it is best for the grihastha ashram to help support the temple. They should not be dependent on the temple. They should, in fact, help the temple.
Yes. So Prabhuji, my question is directing towards this, that like a grahast, mostly like, recently Radheshyam Prabhu came from India, and he was he made a comment in one of his lectures that, in America, mostly grahastha families are running the temple. On the contrary, in India, there are more brahmacharis and all staying in the temple, and then donation is coming from outside. And even the temple presidents, for that reason, are brahmacharis and, sannyasis too, right? But here it's a little bit different. The grahasthas are running. So just for my inquisitive mind, I wanted to know, when the grahasthas are running the temple, then they have to kind of separate out their, the temple thing and their own income, what they're earning, and go with that alongside parallelly.
Yeah. In fact, there are examples like Vaisheshika Prabhu, Swas Prabhu, Los Angeles Temple, Silicon Valley Temple. So they are not earning money through the donation which is coming to the temple. I think they have their own business they are running. It's basically, see, there may be cases like this where some grihasthas, they, like for example, they may be the temple presidents or leaders, and they may be earning something from the donations coming to the temple. But then in return, they have to give a lot to the temple. So the idea is that ultimately we are all trying to serve the Lord. And if you are taking something, then in return we have to give a lot. It's not that you are taking something and you are giving something and that becomes a barter. Then it becomes nullified. Then what service are we rendering? You are rendering service. Where is that service then? You are offering some activity, and in that offering you are receiving some money, or you are receiving some favor from the temple. So, like for example, let's say you are staying in one of the apartments in nearby to the Los Angeles Temple, and the Los Angeles Temple is paying rent for that apartment. Now, in that particular area, I think if you have a 1 BHK house for a rent, what will be the cost per month? I think maybe $2,000 a month, or $1,500 to $2,000 a month. That will be the rent. It is quite high, very expensive in that particular area, right? Or New York Temple also, if you consider, that will be the rent. So see, when the temple is paying $1,500 per month for you, and if your contribution is equivalent to $1,500 a month, why the temple is going to hire you? Why the temple needs service from you? Because what you are giving in return is the same thing, The temple wants more outcome from you. So even if you are taking that much as a rent, as a grihastha, if your rent is provided by the temple, it is the duty of the grihastha to think in those terms, that if I am taking something in return, I have to give much more to the temple. So your contribution to the temple should be equivalent to maybe 4 to 5 times in what you are taking from the temple. Then only it makes sense. Okay. So this is a case where you are taking something from temple. There are cases where very good examples, ideal examples, where grihastha devotees, they are temple presidents, but they are source of incomes from outside, and they are just helping. They are just offering service to the temple by taking the position of leader or being a temple president. So that kind of consciousness is very nice. It is ideal consciousness. Whereas, okay, if you are rendering some great service to the temple and temple voluntarily offers you some facilities, that is also very good. But in return, you have to give that much to the temple. The entire concept is what it is not taking from the Lord, it is not taking from the devotees, it is not taking from the organization or temple, it is giving to them. That is the service, then it is called service. Otherwise, it becomes a business. This is the principle. This is how we have to figure out.
And services, you can render service anyway, like going and cleaning the bathroom, or anything, DT seva, whatever. We just go there. It's basically like volunteering. That is seva.
Yeah.
You can put it like that, right?
So see, let's make an account. Like for example, if you are managing the Govinda restaurant, and let's say the temple is giving you rent for your apartment, you are a grihastha, and you are managing Govinda restaurant, and your seva is, let's say, 6 to 8 hours a day. So what is the salary of a manager in a restaurant? That you have to figure out. If that salary per month is, let's say, around $5,000 to $6,000 USD, then maybe you are rendering a good service to the temple, because you are taking $1,500 a month, and in return your contribution is $5,000 to $6,000 a month. And in addition to that, if you are doing some other service also, that will add another contribution to the temple. So everything has to be judged in those terms. And that should be our mood, that should be our attitude. Like, for example, there may be some devotees from India. They now see India, we are able to afford. We can, grihastha devotees, they can separately rent an apartment. They can stay in a particular area. But if they are very good in service, some particular services, and they have been invited to Western country. Now, Western country, the rent is, you can not even imagine. It is like 2 or 3 times greater. And you like for some grihasthas, they may have some savings, and that saving is good enough for their stay in India. But that same saving cannot apply in Western countries. But if you are asked by the GVC or senior Vaishnavas to go and render service in a particular area, then the temple has to give them accommodation, because they cannot afford that accommodation. But even if you accept that accommodation, your desire should be that, okay, now temple has given me facility to stay, prasadam also. So now I have to give something in return, which will be much more than what they are giving me. Then the temple will be satisfied. They will appreciate your service, and at the same time, you will be satisfied also. Like that. So it also depends on circumstances and different cases.
Yes, thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you for all your time, and I'm sure others have questions. I'm really sorry. My apologies, because one after the other, I was, in this thought process, and you gave a lot of clarification and very nice. Like, this movement is so transcendental that all these kirtan classes, there's no Bhagavad Saptaha. You invite people and then you start.
This movement
Yeah.
means basically the philosophy, the acharyas, shastra, they are all transcendental. The movement can become transcendental. It is, see, it is not necessary. The movement is ideal. It can become ideal by some corrections. There should be some rectifications. So that's the reason we are discussing, because in Kali Yuga things will be influenced in a wrong direction. So that's why we have this system of Guru Sharma Shastra.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. Okay, any other devotee, any question or comment?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandap Pranam. Always
Hare
peaceful
Krishna.
Prabhupada. I have a question like, how is it possible to quantify the transcendental service? Like,
It is very simple. When you give something selflessly without expecting anything, without getting anything in return, I mean, what should we expect in return? We should only expect the Lord's mercy, the devotee's mercy, and basically advancement in spiritual life. That's it. Coming closer to the Lord. That is the only thing we expect. So this is something that we have to expect. Rest all, see, that's why what is Uttama Bhakti? Rupa Goswami says, Anya Bilashita Sunyam, Jnana Karmadi Anavritam, Anukulyena Krishnanu, Shilanam Bhakti Uttamam. So Uttama Bhakti is Anya Bilashita Sunyam. All other desire except then the desire to serve the Lord, to please the Lord, should be zero. And Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. So whatever knowledge we acquire, that is also to understand Krishna. Karma, whatever activity we are doing, that is also has to be offered to Krishna. Jnana Karmadi Anavritam. That's why it is not Shunyam. Anya Bilashita Shunyam. All other desires should be Shunyam. But Gyan Karma, we don't want to make Shunya because Jnana and Karma can be engaged in the service of the Lord. Anukulyena Krishna Anushilanam. So whatever is favorable for bhakti has to be accepted. Okay. So this is how we can understand we can quantify what is Uttama Bhakti.
no, I'm asking about how, in terms of the money.
Sorry?
In terms of the money, so you have somebody paying rent, not paying rent, $1,500, but supposed to give 4 times $6,000 of worth of service. So how can you quantify?
First of all, your intention of rendering service has to be there. You are going abroad to render service. There are so many devotees who have gone abroad just to get their green cards. And then they have left the temple. So that is completely cheating. They are not going to gain any benefit from it. So it's also seen as a means to get green card very easily. That is the purpose. So that selfish motivation, it's not going to give you benefit. But you are rendering, you are going, the only purpose is to go and render service. Now, if financially you are not able to do it, you cannot stay there, then to accept accommodation facility from the temple, that is absolutely fine. You are very clear in your terms, that this is what my situation. In India, I can afford, but I cannot pay that much outside. And the temple, if they are willing, first of all, the temple should, they should have conviction, and they should uh, have a need of your service. If they feel that, yeah, you are the one to render this service, you should render this service, then you can go ahead and you can take up that service. So that is also ideal service, everything like. But yeah, but if there is a motive, there is a purpose, then that is not pure devotional service. And we have to always quantify, because if you are taking from temple, then we have to give something to the temple in return. So quantification cannot be exactly in terms of numbers, but you can always guess. You, like, for example, I just gave an example that if you are manager of the Govinda restaurant in that particular area, if someone manages, how much they get, that also you should know, because tomorrow the temple should not tell you that, Prabhu, we are paying for you, and what you are doing, you are just managing the restaurant. What big thing is there? Because if they hire someone, then they will be charged so much for it. So if you are putting your 8 hours of daily service, then you have to make sure that I am also contributing something, and the temple cannot say like that. So all these things are possible. So you need to quantify also for your own benefit. Can be a prediction. It cannot be like an accurate figure, but at least some quantification has to be there.
My question also, like, So it's in relation to the wealth, the prosperity or the opulence, material wealth that the person has. So supposing the is really not so materially well off, he gives $100 donation, and somebody, Bill Gates, is giving $1 million donation to the Lord, to the Supreme Lord. The $100 donation may be considered higher
Yeah,
than,
so
than
for
the
that, contribution is justified because the Lord sees the percentage. Now, if your income is, let's say, $10,000 a month, and someone's income is $1 million a month, there is a lot of difference. So, a person who is um, earning $1 million, if he gives $1,000 a month, what is his contribution? Very less. And if a person with $10,000, if he's giving $1,000, his contribution is more in terms of percentage. That's why there was a pastime where one millionaire came to Prabhupada and he offered a big donation. I mean, big in terms of it's a relative thing. So he gave a apparently big donation to Prabhupada. Prabhupada did not even look at him. And then a small girl came, she had some few pennies with her, and she gave everything to Prabhupada. So Prabhupada smiled at her, and he was very happy and satisfied. And then one disciple asked Prabhupada that this person came, you did not even look at him, you did not even acknowledge, and this girl came, you gave, you basically reciprocated with her. So Prabhupada said that that person gave 1% donation, and this girl, she gave 100%. Whatever she had, she gave everything. So that percentage has to be, that is important. So Krishna is Bhavgrahi and Sargrahi. He knows the essence of what we are giving, and he sees the Bhav and the essence of our devotion, like that.
Okay, very good. It is important to understand the management and the financial aspects, because we are in the material world, and Krishna does come as in person, but not to everybody. That Gita Panda story is is getting coming to my mind. So he doubted whether the Lord will come or somebody else will come in. There is a concept like I hear in the many some classes, that Krishna will do something to somebody. That Krishna also comes directly, because Yogakshemam Bahamyaham, that is his personal promise. So Gita Panda story tells that he comes himself. I mean, if he so decides. Of course, he can make Prakriti manage it, or his Para Prakriti, Apara Prakriti, whatever. That's right, that Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Krita Hai. Prabhupada used to stress on that quite a lot.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, this is Geeta. I have a quick question. You have a minute?
Yes, yeah, please.
So I wanted to ask in terms of donation, not to the temple, but to, to outside the temple. If you were to give donation, the benefit of the donation, I know it should not be transactional, but, we also think of who should we donate to. So the need of the person that we are giving the donation to, if it's higher, is the benefit more?
Okay, so
I mean, if we give, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
you are asking in the context of making donation to, like,
Outside the temple, yeah.
spirituality or outside.
Outside to a needy person. I mean, if the need is more, I mean, that's what I'm asking.
So see, basically, it all depends how much responsible you are, how much connected you feel to that personality. If he's your near and dear ones, then you may donate, and because you may have to support, or you may have to, as an obligation, or maybe as a relative, you may have to do that. But I think your donation, a good percentage of donation should go regularly for spiritual activities. So there is a difference between regularly donating and sometimes, like once in a while donating. So you may donate like as a matter of compassion, and I think it is best to donate for something which cannot be misused, right? For example, if you are providing medical treatment to someone, or you may provide some charity in terms of food, clothing, shelter, like that, that cannot be misused. But if you just give money, and if the person tomorrow, if the person will misuse the money, then you will also incur karma, he is also going to incur karma. And that's why Bhagavad Gita, the Lord mentions that there are different types of charity: the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. And then charity in the directly connected to the service of Krishna, directly, and service related to the Vaishnavas. So that is all transcendental. It is not in the purview of karma. So if you like to, if you have to donate outside, then there are certain factors that you have to consider. You have to make sure that your charity should not be misused. It should not, like, in India there are so many beggars, and maybe there is some needy person also. You may help that person, but later on, if that person he has no moral values, he may misuse that money for drinking, smoking, illicit activity, or gambling, or anything. He can do it. So unless you know person nicely, you have some connection with the person, it's very difficult to guess what he is going to do with the money, right? So I hope it makes sense.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Yeah, because I think, see, because we are Vyasta, so it's like definitely we want to donate to spiritual activities more and more, but then there are certain obligations we'll have to towards our family members also, towards our relatives also. So we'll have to spend there. We cannot avoid that completely. We cannot ignore it completely unless you are like full-time devotees or vanaprasthas, or like you are isolated from your relatives and all. So yeah, so that way I think we'll have to make some contribution, but then it has to be made very intelligently, considering factors.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
All right, yeah. So if there are no more questions and comments, then we can end the class here.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for this topic and explaining nicely about our donations and Lakshmi. So thank you so much, Prabhuji, for question answer session. We took a lot of your time, so sorry about that.
No, it's okay, no problem. So service home. So,
Okay. So let's pay obeisances to all the Vaishnavas and Prabhuji, Vancha Kalpatarvesya Kripa Sindhu Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. अनंत कोटि वैष्णवंत की जय, नमाचार्य ठाकुर की जय, शिव प्रपात की जय, निरंतर श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय, His Grace Prema Rāsa प्रभु की जय. Thank you so much,
thank you so much,
Prabhuji.
all the devotees, for your kind attendance, time, and your kindness to give me service opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare